What is up? Welcome back to Softcore History. I am your host for the week, Rob Fox, joined as always by Dan Regester, and our special guest for the week, Jessie Wine Spritzer Wiseman.
I mean, listen, by popular demand.
Back.
Right? I'm a friend of the pod now.
Usually you're an autumn girl with us,
Yeah.
but we got you in the summer.
Got me out in the summer.
During spooky season.
Yes.
Get you for the Halloween episodes.
Yes, but you enticed me with all you told me is that there might be killings.
We
and
said,
I go,
please?
We
yep.
enticed you with Jake's not here anymore.
Yes, and I want to say something off the just at the top.
Give us your oyster farming take. Let's go.
What I wanted to say
Because
is...
he will listen.
I think he's still listening.
Hi, sweetheart.
Jake, listen to us.
Jake, honey. So if you were to ask me what's the most disgusting food,
Yeah.
to me, oysters.
They do not get you horny?
Literally,
Like it doesn't...
thinking about it right now, I'm
Yeah.
like sweating a little bit. It is so disgusting.
You don't like the taste of snot and sea salt?
And just like anything that you have to put that much shit on.
Hot sauce?
Hot sauce.
Horseradish.
Horseradish.
You actually need to like punish your mouth and make your mouth so numb, like you can only take it with a head injury.
Yeah. And listen, I know it's not a hot take, but my God, disgusting. I can't think of anything grosser to do with your life.
Then,
And we say good luck, right?
yeah,
we
Yeah.
say Godspeed.
he's working the fields.
Ugh.
We
Just
love him for it.
Every day with that
For the rest of your life,
smell.
Jake. This is your life.
This is it.
If it goes as planned.
Yes, and we hope that for you. The other thing I wanted to say is I am very competitive, and the other show of yours that is doing better than mine
Well, this is
The other ones
years
I've
in the
done.
making, yeah.
is my co-host on Jessie Wiseman's Crime Corner.
Already plugging.
Already plugging, because she's a professional, okay?
Mm.
His Coop, Matthew Cooper. So I think it's interesting.
He's got the most views on YouTube right now on our channel
Canadian
because
one?
we upset the Canadians.
We did. We made a lot of Canadians very angry by accusing a war criminal of being a war criminal. Like just committed a by the book war crime. I'm not even mad about it because he did it to Nazis, but we were like, oh, that is a war crime.
Yeah.
Like that's absolutely a war. And Canadians popped in. They're like, you don't know fucking any. My favorite thing, and it's especially funny because we work with a lot of veterans here, and a lot of veterans come into the studio.
Yes.
And no one ever says this to my face ever, really. But online, boy, I don't even know if these are veterans, but the amount of people, if you say anything about war that someone doesn't like, the first thing they'll say is, look at that fucking shirt. You don't know anything about. It's always the shirt. Like, you don't know anything about fucking war.
Right.
I'm like, that's just in the Geneva Convention. I mean, that's just written down.
And we don't
Yeah.
claim to know what it's. I mean, listen, you're wearing a tie-dye shirt.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Peace and love.
Peace and love.
I'm just kidding. I watch gun cam videos. I
Yeah.
Get a kick out of it.
Yeah. Actually, that's funny. We did an episode just talking shit about Canada. Did quite well.
Yeah. I think that this guy was like.
They're fragile people.
He was like.
Yeah, oh my God.
Yeah. Good Lord. I think this guy is like they're like not like a war hero, like general war hero like Washington or Patton or something, but he's like a blue collar, like enlisted man.
Leo
war
Major's
hero.
his name.
Yeah, Leo Major. So like Audie Murphy or something, and they really took that to like Pat Tillman. You know what I mean?
Oh, you might as well have been talking shit about Tillman. Yeah, so I said all kinds. I mean, it was just like they want so bad to be America. They do everything we do, only a little bit more annoying, right? And
Yes.
worse.
Yeah.
And the names over there. So the episode that we did, it was like one horrible name after horrible name, and the
Like
worst
person
of it.
name or place
Yeah,
name?
person.
Okay.
Like what they're, what people are named over there.
Right.
Your first name, your surname, and the worst of them was a lady named Clotilda.
That's not real.
Not Matilda, not you know what I mean? Clotilda.
Sounds like some sort of animal vagina. Like you could see the dolphin's Clotilda.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I even think that's what they're called. I think
Cloaca.
Cloaca, sorry.
But I mean, the most famous Canadian has the softest name of all time. Aubrey.
Yes.
Okay.
Is he the most famous?
I would argue, right?
Gosh,
Drake has to be the most famous Canadian.
Yeah.
The accent. Anyways.
Let's get into this week's episode.
Yeah, we're good. We're well on our way.
Yeah, we got the banter in, and I tailored this episode.
We were saying off mic before the show how much we turn off potentially thousands of listeners.
And I have a tweet going viral right now, and I put the link under it. So we might get a lot of new listeners on this.
One or two people might click that link.
100,000 people saw the podcast link below the one that's going viral, and 93 people have clicked on the link out of 100,000.
You shut up.
I mean, the batting average there is
He's
incredible.
going viral off somebody else's content. He might as well be the fat Jew.
Listen, who among us, right? Do any of us have our own content?
What do you, at some point, you need to just flush your principles down the toilet, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, if you haven't already.
So this is my history of funny quotes from movies. We're just going to quote Anchorman throughout the whole thing.
Hey.
Yeah.
Throw in a Borat and I'm in.
Let's go.
My wife.
No, all right, let's get into this week's episode. Jessie, I did tailor this for you.
Thank you.
Just
you
like
dumbed
I
it down.
Tailored the Patreon episode this week for you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Try.
Thanks, guys.
The year is 71 BC.
Ooh.
The Romans are laying siege to the legendary city of Themyscira.
Of course, our Roman expert, Jessie Wiseman.
Yes.
Yes, well known.
I'll get there. Don't worry. Said to be the legendary home of the Amazons and Wonder Woman.
Uh-huh. Oh.
In reality, it's merely a city in the Pontic Kingdom in what is now modern-day Turkey. Rome wants it for itself. The city's walls, however, are daunting, too big and too difficult to overcome without suffering heavy casualties. So the Roman general, Lucullus, whatever.
Sounds Canadian.
Lucullus, ordered huge tunnels to be dug underneath the walls in order to breach the city's defenses. The tunnels were huge, very big. So big that the Pontic defenders were able to get in there themselves, and battles ensued inside the tunnels underground. But the fight was growing increasingly hopeless in the face of Roman might. So desperate to reverse the course of battle, the Pontics turned to an unlikely ally. Nature. Nature.
Did you write all that?
I did.
Oh, you smart.
They released bees into the tunnels.
What?
Okay.
Bees just started chucking beehives down the tunnels.
Holy shit, the only thing I hate worse than oysters is fucking bees, dude. You said animals. Bees are not animals.
They're
are awful.
Better than
They're evil.
wasps, right?
Did you hear, by the way, do you remember how bees were going extinct? About how we were killing all the bees?
We saved them.
Goodbye. I was like,
They're back.
goodbye.
They made a huge comeback.
Not
no
only
kidding, because it wasn't even...
have bees made a comeback, but we've actually reforested the earth. Deforestation is no longer an issue.
It's a myth.
No, but I think last year was the first year where we actually reforested more than deforested.
Is that why
we finally were in the black, or we replaced
We were in the
all
black.
the shit we cut down?
We were in the black.
We were just in the black.
Yeah.
So it's like saying
that's a win, baby.
I know, but it's like saying, hey, inflation was only 3.4%, and it's like that is really good, but you're still, what has it been for the past 20 months? You know what I mean?
Right,
It's like, yay,
right.
we're getting back in the right track.
Right. Or it's like your boy, your boy Kevin Spacey. Like if he
Rob's boy.
Rob's boy. If
Rob's
he did
LA Confidential is my co-favorite movie, so I actually do love Kevin Spacey quite a bit.
Of course, not as a person, but my God.
As an artist.
My
As an
God.
artist.
Oh, Rob doesn't care for the movies.
No. He
Yeah,
just
yeah.
wants to fucking kick it with him.
It's the Offset stuff.
But anyways, it'd be
He'd
like
buy
if
me
he got a movie that paid him $30 million.
Right,
Cool.
yeah.
Now you're zero, right? So, bees.
They start tossing bees down the tunnels, but they do more.
Are we talking no, there's a lot of different bees.
I don't know, just pissed off bees.
Pissed off with a stinger.
Yeah, with the stinger.
Whatever.
I would
that
hope
means.
because
But the
there's
bees-
plenty of bees that don't have stingers, right? Who are the big fat bees?
Yeah, it's not the bumblebees. It's
No, they're
normal
wanting to
ass bees
sting.
that'll sting the
Okay.
fuck out of you. But
Okay.
that's just
Because everybody had an uncle that would capture the bee and tie a string around the bumblebee.
No one- not everyone had that
yeah,
uncle.
I know how you think your experiences are universal.
So everyone
all the
had
time.
an uncle that tied a string around a bumblebee and walked the bumblebee.
I don't even.
Oh, you know what? Where you're from? Yeah, I've heard that.
It's our version of clapping for pigeons.
Most people I know captured fireflies in a jar.
And once.
Or in your hands, and you were like, I got a firefly.
Yeah, once maybe.
Actually, you know what was psychotic behavior as a child? I never did this because I even thought it was weird back then, and I don't really have a moral compass or anything, but I just thought it was, like, bizarre. And girls would do this more than boys, is they would pull the light off the firefly and make a little ring out of it with a blade of grass.
You guys,
You never saw that?
I never saw that, or you know where I'm from. Don't tell anybody. But like, no, we didn't have.
That feels extremely on brand for. Oh, you didn't have fireflies? I feel like that's something you would have done as a little girl.
Probably, just like put in my hair, a little hippie like, girl running around.
Yeah.
We did the June bugs, and we would tie the big June bugs that you would see.
Okay.
So my experience
easier
is
to
universal,
get a leash around them.
In a way, I mean, we've all tortured bugs,
I
but
think
which
what
bug
we're saying.
is the question?
Is there a danger of fireflies going extinct? Because it seems like there's less and less.
Seems like there's less and less. I agree. So maybe I'd have to look it up. We can say yes. Why not?
But like, then you got to think of like, what does that benefit or hurt, right?
They're kind of useless. I think other things eat them.
Right. So
yeah,
maybe
but they guide you
those would
through
go
the dark.
extinct too, whatever those are.
Some bird that we don't care about.
God, get rid of the bees and the birds and the oysters.
Well, the Romans were just in phase 1 of the Pontic attack. Bees were phase 1. Phase 2 is all the Pontics, or the Pontic army, the Pontic defenders, whatever, started releasing Syrian brown bears into the tunnels.
It's quite an escalation.
So first bees
to get them all in my face, and then
as they're like getting them off the face,
then the brown and the Syrian brown bear, just so you know, is about the size of a grizzly.
Okay,
It's a brown bear. The two bears you don't want to fuck with are a brown bear, and then a polar bear you really don't want to fucking deal with.
Right.
A polar bear will rip you in half for fun.
Right.
A brown bear is likely to fuck you up, but a polar bear will just do it.
But don't you feel like if you encounter a polar bear,
it's over.
But you've also like gone to the place, you know.
Yeah.
You're in a place. You're not just like hiking in L.A.
Yeah.
And then the polar bear comes.
There was a woman and her not very old child who were just walking through Anchorage, and surprise.
Now don't get me started on Alaska.
What if you just want to go on a tour of the Coca-Cola factory?
One of the Christmas bears pops out, wakes up, and
that they have there is some kind of like fun attraction. By the way,
avoid Atlanta, I guess.
There's a really funny picture that like a lot of people think was cute. It's from a couple years ago, and it's a little girl, and she's facing this like polar bear enclosure, and she's like hands on the glass, and the polar bear is like paws on the glass, and people are like, oh, they're saying hi. I'm like, no, it wants
it's
to
hungry.
rip that little girl's head off and drink her blood.
Just snarling at her. She's like,
yeah.
Hey. And like in instances like that, I go, break the glass
if the
a little
glass
bit.
Breaks,
If the glass breaks.
She dies. She dies.
Listen, it could be worse. So first bees.
Yes, and that's to just...
Then the bears are coming in.
The bears come in, these Roman engineers, and it's engineers down there digging the tunnel, so they have to, like, evac the engineers, get the actual soldiers in there, or the soldiers who are in there helping the digging and stuff have to run and find their fucking swords and shields as the basically grizzly bears start coming through the tunnel to fuck them up.
How is the communication between the bears and the bees?
I think the
They've got
bears they
walkie-talkies.
followed the humming of the bees. It is a symbiotic relationship. I think they thought there was honey at the other end, and then they were like, oh, well, there's no honey, but there's meat.
And so this is to kill
The Romans, to drive them out of the tunnel.
so that they could take the...
The walls of the city are too big to breach. The walls of the city are... It's trying to scale the walls.
So they're going under.
They're trying to go under. Cause
these are massive tunnels.
These are
You can
huge
fit a
tunnels. These
brown
are like
bear.
subway tunnels.
Okay.
And
How long did that take?
a while. I mean, it's a siege.
Like
the
years?
sieges aren't... No, but like a good amount of time.
I guess you have nothing but time. And then
You have like 40,000 men and nothing but time.
what else are you going to do?
The things you can do with time and people who have to
And
do whatever
boredom.
you say.
Yes. And like it's not like you're really getting that much sex, right? Are they? I mean, they're all
Well, with
out.
each other, yeah.
Well,
Were they?
Well, here's the other thing too. Well, maybe they're banging each other. Some
Right.
of them certainly
Maybe the
are.
brown bears too.
But here's the thing too: is sex is on the other side of those walls.
Okay. Now, by the way, they'll stop at nothing.
Yeah, literally pussy and fortune, right on the other side of those walls. So what's a bear and some bees?
And what else? I mean, my gosh.
Well, the bears are released into the tunnel, and the Roman soldiers, I mean, just murdered the shit out of them, and they won the battle and took the city. And then the bear attack didn't work because Rome is just unstoppable.
They were just like, punching the bees.
Yeah,
And the fucking bears in the face.
I assume,
shields,
I
swords.
assume for the bees, they probably had to run out and just started, or like grab torches and were just smoke. Then the bears come in and you're like, oh, Jesus Christ. I'm sure a couple guys got murked, throats ripped out. But they go in formation. The bear doesn't know what to do. You march forward, stab. It's not as good of an idea as you think. But I read about this siege, the siege of Themyscira, and I thought, wow, I wonder if we've used animals in other fucked up ways in warfare.
Let's go.
And this is the story of all the worst ways I could find that we have used animals in warfare. I'm not talking about riding horses into battle.
Right.
No, like using them as weapons.
Yes.
Can I give an honorable mention that you probably skipped?
Okay.
The bear that the Polish military
Yes, I
used
did
in
skip
World War II.
Wojciech. Yeah, I did skip the Polish bear Wojciech in World War II.
They essentially tortured that bear.
Yeah, well, that bear had it pretty easy compared to the animals we're going to talk about today.
Good.
Good.
This is a just list of
I just wanted to make sure you weren't just kind of mailing it in.
no. This is a list of crimes against nature by human beings.
Right. Crimes against nature using nature.
Yeah. I mean, it is just egregious what we have done to animals in the name of warfare.
Yeah, but because here's the deal, though. I'll say off the bat. Yep. I think the first episode is a little buzzed, and then Patreon is wasted. Yes. Am I right or wrong?
Dan can tell you that is exactly right.
My favorite episode. Now, if I could beat that one, I will be
if only Joel were here.
Very happy, I
to
know.
feed you shots of peanut butter whiskey.
Not my first choice.
No
Or
kidding.
Not in my top 10.
Nobody's.
Not top 1,000, really.
By the way, people, stop making peanut butter flavored
Nobody wants that.
liquor.
By the way, do you know who wants peanut butter flavored liquor? Children.
Yeah.
No adult. No one outside of college. It even actually blows my mind.
I don't want flavored liquor in
No.
general. Just like vodka should taste like vodka. Whiskey should taste like whiskey.
Tequila. Yeah, I agree.
I agree.
I'll mix in what I want.
Let me flavor it if I want to.
Yeah, I was trying to think if there's any. The only thing I'll go with on that is if you put some sort of herb or spice in the liquor.
Okay. Yeah.
If you drop like a habanero in a tequila bottle or some sort of like
I'm into that.
not basil. What do you put in like vodka? Like thyme or something like that?
Yeah, like a rosemary or
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm into that.
Yes. Fruit? Get out of here.
Get out of here. It just gets disgusting and
I'm
makes
not-
pulp, basically,
Yeah.
in my liquor. What I want to say about animals is I think in these times that you're talking, hopefully they're softcore times back in the day, where like we had a healthy relationship with what animals are. And only recently, you stop. Only recently have we been like, oh my, right?
Yeah, this gets pretty recent.
Certain animals were worshipped. Like cats.
Cats, cows.
Okay. To where you like, they were treated?
Yeah, Egyptians would.
Like how we
Bow
treat
down
our
to
dogs?
We will
and-
get into some Egyptian cat stuff today.
I'm
So there's
just
several
saying,
cat things, actually.
like using the bears and the bees, to them it was like,
Yeah, well, then
these
the
are
bears
nothing. These aren't people. These are
Yes,
weapons.
Yes.
If
Yeah.
we can use them as weapons, we do. We're not going to like domesticate them or
And
There's
that
no
love
dog
them more than
relationships,
kids.
you
Yes.
know?
Yeah.
They're not our best friend.
Well, funny you mentioned dogs. Let's start with dogs. Now,
He's
this
not-
happened a long time ago in World War II.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, not that long ago.
So, living memory.
Did we
Okay.
strap
Whoops.
some explosive to dogs and make them suicide bombers?
We literally did, yes. By we, I do mean the Soviets. We're talking about anti-tank dogs.
Oh, no.
What are these?
These are suicide bomber dogs that the Russians made.
Explosives strapped to them.
Yeah, so the dogs...
Or they would sniff out.
So what would happen is Operation Barbarossa, the German invasion of the Soviet Union in 1941, completely caught the Russians off guard. They were not prepared to fight the Germans.
They never are.
They never are. It's dog shit country. They were not prepared to fight the Germans, so they had a very much like, we got to throw whatever the fuck we can, just like the Pontics in the tunnel.
Yeah.
We got to throw whatever the fuck we can throw at these people.
Yes.
There is all hands on deck.
We got to improvise.
Yeah. So this included dogs, right? The German panzer divisions, the German tank divisions, just steamrolling over the Soviet Union. I mean, like, stunningly so. Originally, the Soviets were like, okay, we'll use dogs to help while we do whatever, train people, whatever. And they were going to train the dogs to run up to the tanks, the German tanks, place bombs on them, and then run away to safety.
Yeah, fucking right.
Happy
dude.
ending.
They
It's
were
like
never going to do that.
It's like Air Bud meets Saving Private Ryan, right? It's a heroic story.
Oh, and then we'd be watching like a movie with Mark Wahlberg about the heroic dogs
Yes.
today.
Yes.
Well, that's the PR story you have to tell the public.
Yeah, no kidding. They were never going to fucking do that. Or they tried, right? And
they
were like,
tried.
This is fucking
It
impossible.
did not work. The dogs didn't even make it out of training for that. Couldn't fucking do it.
God.
So they were like, well,
so they just murked a bunch of dogs.
You
I
know
guess
who they
what
could have trained
In basic,
probably? They could have trained some, some kids. Maybe.
peasants, children. Yeah, and
Peasant
I'm
children.
sure they did. I'm sure
tried.
that happened.
Yeah.
So they, with the puppy suicide bombers, as I like to call them, they were like, all right. Well, I guess we're just going to have to make them little furry bombs. So they just strapped suicide vests to them, and there was a small lever at the top of the vest. So when the dog would dive under the tank, the lever would hit the top of the tank, hopefully not a bush or something before that. And boom, dog explodes under the tank explodes. Hooray! We killed some Nazis. And all it cost was 1 to 3 dogs, depending on how many times the dog got machine gunned down before it made it to the tank in the first place.
There's no video of that, right?
Not to my knowledge. I didn't look it up.
How funny, just a black and white video.
Yeah.
And not funny. I didn't mean funny. I just...
It's kind of funny.
it's so insane it would be funny.
Right.
Yeah, some things
And
are so
even you.
horrible there.
The dog lover, right?
Biggest one on the podcast.
Biggest one on the podcast.
He's always yells at me. He's like, don't show me a dead dog. I'll show him like a fucking guy getting his head sawed off.
No,
he's
he
like, oh.
literally brought one in. He's like, I ran this dog over today.
We
and
brought it in?
And then he would go to the back of his car and just be like, hey, look at this carcass.
No, you didn't. Did you?
Well, I had to show somebody just to get it off my chest.
He was traumatized.
Yeah.
He wasn't.
He wanted to make you an accessory.
I was bragging.
Yeah. he was collecting it like a trophy.
Yeah. But so the Russians were like, all right, that's what we're going to have to do. We're going to have to just make them suicide bombers. Russian propaganda claimed that these dogs destroyed 300 German tanks this way, which, if that was true, probably means that at least twice that many dogs died, because obviously the Germans get wise and like, oh, a dog. Brrr.
Yeah. What was the dog? There's a lot of places now, like last time I was in Costa Rica, where it's just like, stray dogs. It was fine.
Stray dog
but
city.
like what so
I mean,
were they employing kind of a stray dog that was going to okay.
I doubt it, because you have to train them.
So they were breeding them probably.
You have to imagine that these are like police dog
In a
situation. Belgian Malinois, German Shepherd, ironically.
Because they had plenty of stray dogs to spare.
right.
I mean, the Sochi Olympics, they had a
Yeah, but they couldn't
dog
like
problem.
train them,
You
right?
can't. You
so,
cannot
like,
grab a feral adult dog
Right.
and start training it
right.
to destroy a tank. I imagine.
So you have to have a purebred from a puppy,
Yeah.
knowing and loving it,
Yeah.
right? Send that one out.
Yes.
Okay.
The goodest boys.
The
as they
goodest
say.
of all the boys.
Yeah. So if that's true, that means I would say 2 to 3x that many probably died on the battlefield. However, the program, believe it or not,
maybe 10x.
maybe 10x. Yeah, like maybe 3,000 dogs
Oof.
Had to be because like.
I mean, they're running into just metal, hot metal, flying everywhere.
Yeah.
As soon as the first tank gets blown up by a dog, everyone gets on the radio and it's like, oh, dude, they're using dogs. So watch out for dogs.
Just shoot all
the dogs.
Even
Yeah.
if you don't, I mean, even on the street, any dog you know, shoot them all.
Yeah. Whether or not that's true, the majority of the program did prove to be a failure, believe it or not. The dogs were trained on Soviet tanks in training. But Soviet tanks ran on diesel fuel and German tanks ran on gasoline.
Oh,
so
no.
during deployment, the dogs had a habit of just running towards
Their own
Soviet tanks and blowing them up.
Friendly fire.
What a
Because
great
they
ending to that story, huh? Fuck you.
So,
No, the dogs knew.
Oh, yeah, that's
They're
what
like,
I'm
you're
saying.
going to make me kill myself? I'd rather take you out.
seeing as the program backfired a bit, it was ultimately ended in 1996.
Yep.
Shut the fuck up. My whole theory. You're like, oh, let me just debunk everything that you said in the beginning because
Oh, yeah, where you're like,
fucking
well,
what-
this was a
I was
different...
like, this is like Roman times. They don't care about.
We're spanning
96?
all of human history.
Yeah. Gorbachev could take down that wall, but he couldn't take down this program.
And by the way, I'm in the place in my life where 96 feels like 10 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Where
Like,
I'm
the
like,
90s.
oh, 90,
That
96.
wasn't 30 years ago.
Yeah. So to me, that seems very recent.
Yeah.
Which it is.
1996 is, what, 28 years ago?
That was 5.
Whatever.
Yeah.
But I had
However long
memories.
ago it was.
I had memories of it.
What's the most recent case that you guys will do?
Oh, for the show?
Yeah.
Dan says we don't have a rule.
We've
I like to
broken
have
it.
a loose 20-year rule.
Okay.
So we can cover 9/11 now.
And the invasion of Iraq.
Yeah.
And have you?
Not yet.
Okay. No, I hear
Seems
you.
like it's been done a couple times.
Yeah, but maybe you've got a different take. You
Helen
know?
Keller was responsible for 9/11.
Helen Keller is indirectly responsible for many deaths on 9/11.
I mean, I
Prove
can't.
me wrong. You can't.
Exactly
Yeah.
right. I can't prove you wrong.
Debate me. Debate me.
Because she was such a big fat liar. It was just like, what else is she capable of?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
She flew a plane.
Although we just did
Gave
an episode
speeches.
on the Patreon about Uday Hussein.
Oh, wait.
so
Didn't she...
that was kind of recent.
Uday Hussein, but he was killed also in our 20-year window.
2003.
Yeah. So he's good.
You
Yeah, we're
guys
good.
are fine. I like that though, because it's long enough that we can look. You guys can look at what's happening now.
You don't want to
Give it time to breathe.
I prefer to go deep, but it is fun to do something from living memory. I mean, I would love to just give a play-by-play. I've said this before on the show and other places. Like, there's nothing more. I've never felt more American and more dystopian in my life than when we invaded Iraq, because I was in high school and I was homesick that whole week, and I was just flipping
Just
on
watching
TV
war.
between my country's army invading a country literally half a world away, and when that got boring, I would turn on college basketball games because it was the conference tournaments in March or whatever.
Ugh.
So I was just like, oh, I'm gonna check the Big Ten tournament. We're not killing enough Iraqis right
It's enough
now.
war for today.
Right?
Yeah,
But that's what it does.
That
You
is-
just go, oh wow.
that's what is this line from? That's power you can't buy.
Look at Twitter now. We can watch the Ukrainian war.
Oh yeah, no, now it's
I get
everything's-
fed videos of just drones dropping bombs on Russians. I didn't ask for
is
this.
that just you though? Because I don't.
I get that too.
I didn't ask
You
for it.
do.
Yeah, I did ask
But
for
you
it. though.
guys do. Yeah, you guys.
I did
do
ask for
it.
it. I like the footage. I think it's interesting. It does get redundant, a little boring.
There was a kind of fucked up
Oh,
video.
another kid. Kid
There's that, but there was a fucked up video the other day of a Ukrainian soldier on FaceTime with the dead Russian's girlfriend, saying, "I killed your boyfriend."
That's a real video.
Yep.
Yeah, I just shut that out of my
That's fucked up.
mind. That's not happening.
As they're
That's
saying.
not good.
Book of Mormon. Turn it off
Yep.
like a light switch.
You guys know.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, I know it's not interesting, but my little brain can't. It shuts off at a certain. I can get a couple stories in like that, and then it just shuts
Yeah,
down.
you gotta just
The
you
battery
disassociate
overheats. Yeah,
real
yeah.
quick.
And I'm just like, that's too much.
All right,
That's
let's
too
talk
much.
about the next
Please.
animal here. One of the most terrifying weapons of the ancient world was another animal.
Okay, but are you also going to cover the dolphins?
No dolphins today.
Okay.
Too
But
predictable.
It was us that used the dolphins.
I think
used the dolphins?
we both used dolphins.
We had suicide dolphins.
Gosh, they're so smart, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Not that smart.
And we blew them up.
Why don't they just speak English? You know what I'm saying? At this point.
We're very close to deciphering whale language.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Well, the whales are kind of fighting back.
The York. No, they're not even. They're just punk kids.
Yeah.
No, they're fighting back.
That's
They
what
know.
we discovered.
I really I stopped at that theory.
And I don't care.
Because I was just like, that's
Makes
it.
sense.
No, killer whales are getting together and taking out the rich.
With
But
their
it's
own
not
rich?
only the rich. Like,
Yeah.
we have videos of them, like, with little dinghies and stuff.
Yeah. Literally, they
No.
went after those Inuits.
Yes.
I'm telling you, they kind of came across Karl Marx, and now they're like, eat the rich.
Although, to be fair, to a whale, all humans are the 1%, right?
It's so true.
Like,
They're
we're
just
all
like,
killing them.
"Please."
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, one of the most terrifying weapons of the ancient world was the war elephant.
Hannibal.
When deployed properly, a.k.a. not marched across a wintry mountain
The Alps.
like the Alps,
It's a tough scene.
these things could fuck you up. If you ever played Rome Total War or Age of Empires, war elephant, don't want to see it. It'll fuck your shit up.
There's an easy solution to that, though, and it's a trumpet.
No, I got a better solution, and that's what we're going to talk about. We're not talking about war elephants. We're talking about the number one way to kill war elephants.
Number one.
And that is or not to kill war elephants, but to neutralize them, I should say. That is war pigs.
Now, we're fucking talking, right?
Yeah.
Great song.
Elephants are afraid of pigs?
We'll get there.
If
War
they're-
pigs.
Wasn't it mice?
If they're war pigs.
So that's the thing. So elephants, that's sort of their elephants thing is like the sort of stereotype about it, right? So it's like, oh, it's so funny that such a big thing is scared of such a small thing. But one thing you have to remember is that elephants are hyper intelligent. We might have just found out that elephants name each other. We know elephants give each other funerals.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know that?
No.
Yeah, elephants have funerals.
Where they, like, all gather around
Yep.
or they're okay.
They all gather around and
Do they pick up
Say their
flower
piece.
from the
yeah,
thing?
I don't know, but they do have funerals.
That's fucking nuts.
Yeah, they are hyper intelligent.
Like with that kind of seeing those kind of things, like an elephant being not tortured but like in captivity for some reason is like more
At a
sad to
circus?
me than like just
Or a
because
zoo
I do
even?
know that they're smart enough to
Yeah.
be sad about
Balancing
it.
on a beach ball?
You know
Just
who
be
else
like,
is smart enough to know that they're in captivity and stuff like that?
Monkeys?
Pigs.
Pigs are smart, yeah.
But they're
Pigs are
delicious.
Pigs are really fucking smart.
Yes.
Pigs. So someone told me this once when I was at the St. Louis Zoo. Like a zookeeper told me, I was looking at it was a wild pig, but it was in a cage at the zoo, like in not a like bar prison cage, but like in its little habitat.
Yeah,
at the
Petting
zoo.
zoo.
Yeah.
And it was just walking in this pattern, and you could see it had worn it out. And I was like, oh, what is it doing? Is it like checking its perimeter for, because it's
Yeah.
like, this is where I live. And they're like, oh no, when pigs are in captivity like this for a while, they just go insane.
Oh God. Because they have a mind smart enough to go.
They know they're
insane.
alive. They know they're alive.
Do you know what I mean? Where
Yes.
like a lot of animals
They're
are like,
so-
I'm alive, I'm fine.
Yeah, they know they're alive. They're self-aware.
Oh jeez.
And they know their existence
And there you were,
is to become
giving money.
food.
Yeah. I was like, oh, so we're looking at a crazy pig.
I think I've been to one zoo. You
What,
go to
ever?
zoos a lot?
Does a
Our kids
crazy
our kids
pig
love
make
our
it
shit.
more
Really?
tasty?
Is what?
Does it make it tastier?
No. Actually, you
No,
you
they're
gotta
tougher, I think.
We typically kill them before they go crazy because all the bacon and stuff you eat, that's a 1-year-old pig.
Young pig.
You don't want them like,
They get really
Getting
gross the older
to-
they get. Yeah,
yeah.
you got to get it fresh.
When they become feral hogs.
Oh, well, hog meat's apparently disgusting. Like male hog meat, especially, it's like full of adrenaline and testosterone and shit like that. It's supposedly foul.
Jeez.
Have you been to the Austin Zoo?
No.
Oh, they have.
It's not worth going
It's
to.
gross.
Yeah.
My kids love it. But they have two like hogs there, like the type that Jared shoots out of a helicopter,
Okay.
and they are foul animals.
Well, left too long in a, fake environment, yeah.
I think,
right?
but even if they were out in the world, like they're just
they
gross.
don't clean themselves
Yeah,
and
they're
roll.
gross.
Okay.
They stink.
Yeah, they'll charge you. They'll come
But
at you.
Yeah, I am
aggressive.
afraid of pigs for sure.
So pigs are really smart, and sadly, we are talking about regular pigs and not. I like to think that war pig would be a great term for like what Marines called prostitutes in Afghanistan or something like that.
I think that's probably already in the works.
Like it's like a lot lizard, but it's.
Yeah, I think they probably already
Yeah, it's not
do
an
that.
original thought of yours. It's
You don't think so?
No, but I
war
mean-
pigs are a real thing.
At least people we know.
Yeah.
You know they've said that
Oh,
at
yeah.
least once, right?
But these war pigs, they were used essentially to freak out the elephants. Like you said, they're afraid of mice. Well, elephants can be trained, and they were really effective combat tools. But there were certain things that frightened them.
I think it's because they can't see them in front of them, right?
And the squealing, like your trumpet situation, the squealing helps a lot too. So when you release a bunch of pigs into the middle of active combat,
right.
these highly intelligent animals start screaming in terror.
And that noise,
God.
by the way,
And
that noise.
yeah,
I mean, oysters and that noise. And that noise. I mean, get it away from me.
take off them
Were they
underpanties.
launching pigs with trebuchets?
No, because you need them alive.
Yeah, but they're still
Oh,
alive.
they're screaming in the air.
in the air.
And
No,
just
they-
like freaking out, right? They like don't
They're
even know where to
freaking the
go.
fuck out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which
and
is scary in itself.
Yes,
like
and
an animal that is freaking out and doesn't know where to go and will do whatever.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Here we fucking go.
So this freaks the elephants out, and they turn around and they start crushing their own troops and running away. And pretty soon, all the pigs and the elephant and the people are dead, and everything works out for the side that released the pigs.
Right.
But sometimes, guys,
Yeah.
a scared pig isn't enough. A pig can't simply be afraid.
Yeah, and then like beat the side.
Sometimes you have to take that pig that is self-aware and knows it's alive and is aware of its existence,
Did they torture the pigs?
and you have to grease it up and light it on fire,
That's right.
and then send it running into the enemy ranks.
You guys.
It'll smell good.
God,
That's probably the best
let-
smelling scent.
Dude, no kidding.
For that time?
Skin going first, crispy.
It's cracklings.
You guys.
Everyone else smells like shit.
First it goes pork rind, then it goes to bacon. I mean, there's no downside. Then it goes to pulled pork.
Mm-hmm.
There's never going to be a bad smell in this.
No, except for the dead people. Everyone's shitting their pants as the elephants stomp on their skulls.
See, now, here's another thing I love. Comedy, to me, comedy is like chaos like this.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care what it is. Like, a part of this was funny. If you just saw a snippet of what was going on, like the cacophony of just whatever was going on.
You're already, I mean, like I say this several times, but like you're already a troop in this ancient army, and you're
Right.
scared.
And you're using pigs against elephants, and it's already ridiculous.
Right.
So to have that happen, and then sending in the flaming pig, I mean, my God.
It's just mass chaos. So yeah, it's hilarious.
It really is.
Should be on like The Office or something. Just throw one snippet on.
Yeah. So these pigs, as they screamed in horrifying pain, either begging to be killed or begging to be helped, who knows? So this scared the shit out of the elephants. They would nope the fuck out of there. They would panic and start stomping on their own troops.
Yeah.
These were used by Alexander the Great, by the Romans. I mean, they were used by anyone who encountered elephants, basically. In fact, Antagonist II, when he was in a battle against someone I can't pronounce, doused some pigs in crude oil and resin, set them alight, drove them towards the enemy's masked war elephants. Boom, victory.
So did it put war elephants out of commish?
No, we used them for a long time.
Okay.
A long,
up
long
until
time.
like 98 or something like that.
Yeah.
All the way up till
To
2003.
the mid-90s,
yeah.
There was actually Saddam Hussein had an elephant battalion.
Holy fuck.
No, I'm kidding.
Oh, God.
Would
By
you,
the
you'd
way,
believe it?
yeah, that did not surprise me at all. I was like, oh, yeah, of course.
Can you imagine just one Abrams tank rolls up to a war elephant battalion?
Yeah.
Like, do we have to do this?
Yeah.
They're like, I don't know, man. They have guns.
Yeah.
I
kinda
did
can.
see later pictures of. I didn't include this because I didn't want to do war elephants because that's kind of like doing cavalry,
Sure.
like, or whatever. But there was a picture of clearly from World War I, maybe World War II, of a guy just with a Vickers machine gun mounted on an elephant, which is like seems like a great idea until you realize that everyone else has guns and they're just going to put 100 rounds into the elephant.
It's a big target.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a real big target.
Yeah, just make yourself. You could be,
Yeah.
but behind something, but make yourself a huge, scared
Yeah.
target.
Next up, this one's a little more fun, unless you encountered it.
A little more fun. Okay.
Yeah. We're talking about the lion of Ramses II.
Okay.
Some animals had fun in combat.
Yeah, like a lion, right?
Yes.
Female lion?
Well, there's multiple lions, but the one I'm speaking of specifically, I believe, is a male lion. Ramses II of Egypt, pharaoh that I believe we talked about, who beat the Sea Peoples in that battle in the Nile.
With this crazy strategy of, hey, surround them from the top of the mountains.
And shoot arrows at them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's weird.
He beat the Sea Peoples. The Sea Peoples were like ancient world Vikings who like ran over everything. This was the one guy who essentially stopped. They fucked up everyone. They got to Egypt, and they fucked up Egypt a little bit, and then Egypt finally stopped them. So this was this guy.
Okay.
He's good. He's good at war.
Yeah.
Okay.
He has common sense.
Yeah. He just thinks outside the box.
And he, by stopping them, the rest of the known world at that time, basically had fallen into an economic depression because they destroyed all the infrastructure. But Egypt stayed relatively okay compared to that. Pretty good leader.
Yeah. God.
He had a pet lion. He had actually a lot of pet cats. They all roamed his palace. So workplace accidents through the fucking roof.
Sure.
And by the way, when I say pet cats, I mean
big cats,
safari fucking cats, cheetahs,
jungle
lions,
cats.
leopards, just roaming the fucking halls.
Yeah. I don't think you mentioned someone having cats unless they're like that.
It's notable, yeah.
Otherwise, it's like, I don't want to hear about it, right?
Right.
Unless it's something like that.
Yeah. So I have to assume a lot of staff had issues.
Oh, yeah. Anyone that needed to clean them or feed them or anything like that were getting killed.
I thought you were going to be like they had staph infections.
That too, probably.
Oh, I'm sure. I mean, listen, when you have animals roaming through your house, not dogs, I'm just saying weird, like a fowl, you're going to get sick.
That's a great comeback to your butler who's complaining. He's like, your pet gave me a staph infection. And you're just like, my brain has a staph infection right now, and it's your words. Get out of here.
I've had a staph infection ever since I hired you.
Well, let's say the territory you govern over is going through a famine. Sorry, guys, I got to feed my big cats.
Yeah.
They come first.
They get me, and they can only have meat, which, by the way, protein at this point in time, meat protein, not easy to come. That's not something
hard to come by, yeah.
You don't get meat every day if you're average Joe Egyptian farmer.
Yeah.
You're getting beans.
Yeah, don't know if you guys know this. Can't just pop over to the grocery store during this time.
No. You're like, well, you got goats, right? You know how much meat a goat gives you? You can't just kill a goat every day.
Yeah.
Or every week
you need
even.
them for other things as well. But yeah.
So Ramses named his lion Slayer of His Foes.
Perfect.
It's the name of the lion.
Straight to the point.
Yep.
Concise, nothing cute, nothing fluffy.
Ready to go.
Tells you what he's about.
Tells you exactly what he's about.
So after he beat the Sea People, I think this is after he beat the Sea People, but anyway, he
Let
fights.
me just, the Sea People?
The Seamen.
Seamen.
And they were named that.
That's what they're named now. I don't know. No one even knows who the
was
fuck they
a
were.
Waterworld stitch? Or?
Yeah.
They
okay,
literally
okay.
just
Lived in the sea.
For all
Rose
anyone
from
at
the
the time
tides.
knows, they just popped out of the ocean.
Beautiful.
They came out of nowhere. We still don't know who
There's
they are.
theories, but
like a Luca?
nothing
Have you seen Luca?
confirmation.
It's so bad. I hate Luca.
I'm about to fucking walk off this podcast. Are you fucking kidding me?
You like Luca? The Pixar film Luca?
Yes! What do you not like?
It's so mid. It's just boring. And by the way, the funniest part about it is it takes place in 1950s Italy? All fascists. All those people were fighting with the Germans in World War II.
Yeah, but they kind of made it seem that way.
Did they?
Yeah, they were like, if you're not this type of person, if you're different at all, we're literally going to kill you with pitchforks.
Okay. Also,
They had that vibe.
I got by the way, my theory.
Rob just kind of checks out on movies.
My theory
if he's
on
not
that
really
film
into it
is
for 5 minutes.
oh my
they-
God, the soundtrack alone.
they made the dad in that movie, the human dad, where Luca goes to
Yeah.
live. They made him handicapped from birth so that you could plausibly say he did not fight in the Italian army with the Nazis. to just kind of loophole that.
No, he lost it in like
no, he didn't. He
from
said
a sea creature.
He said I thought he was born with it, or he like lost it too early in life to have fought in World War II. I thought he was born with it though.
Here's what I just learned about how you watch Luca. You're on your phone scrolling with a whiskey, and you're not actually watching it. You're like, go ahead, kids, watch a Luca. I'm telling you. Ugh.
I can't believe that that's the movie you're riding for right now.
Hard, dude.
I would have never guessed.
I have no opinion on this.
Really? You're going to have to go watch a Luca. Even, all right.
Luca?
I'll continue. I may not do the Patreon.
Okay, fair enough.
Just kidding.
You
need to rewatch.
Okay.
Are you...
I didn't like it. I really didn't like it. I thought it was whatever.
Okay, then what's your favorite that you have to watch and you were like, oh shit. Like, we have to watch all these
there's
fucking...
just no way not enough people have seen this movie.
What, Luca?
Yeah, it's a very low tier Pixar film in terms of just like box office alone.
Maybe your audience, right? Has not seen it.
Just in general.
Okay, I'll go last 10 years.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Great.
I thought he was going to say, yeah, and we would have moved on, Delco.
I would have thought by now.
But we're not moving on.
Yeah, this is crazy.
Why? What's your favorite Pixar?
Favorite Pixar movie? I mean,
like either you had to watch.
Pretty basic.
I mean, Lucas just pulled out of your ass. I feel like that's so random. I would have never guessed.
So I like Toy Story 3, but I end the movie where they're kind of like slowly holding hands.
Yeah, that's where you cut to black.
Yeah.
And you fucking fascist.
I mean, like favorite is probably
cried during Luca.
Really?
Cried at the end. Are you kidding me? Go ahead.
I was like, okay, I guess he won the race or whatever.
No, and then he goes to college, and the kid gives him the Vespa, and he stays and work. You didn't fucking see it. That's why you don't like it. You didn't fucking see it.
I did see it.
You didn't really see it.
Probably drank a lot.
You saw
it
with fucking whiskey eyes. Oh my god.
So favorite all time is probably WALL-E or Finding Nemo. But if I go last 10 years, because Luke
I'm talking on WALL-E.
third generation, whatever. Coco for sure.
I was gonna say, I guess more modern Coco.
Yeah, Coco.
Coco's like.
You know what else is good? Encanto.
Oh, Encanto's actually great.
Encanto's the fucking shit. All right, sorry, Delco.
Anyway,
you're gonna have to go watch Luca, and then come back and tell me.
I'll report back.
And tell me. It fucking sucked. I guess.
I don't have that harsh of opinions on TV and movies like Rob.
Delco.
I don't.
Delco. Okay, now he's lying. Go ahead.
Anyway, so at the Battle of Kadesh, Ramses II is fighting with the Hittites. This is actually portrayed in the film Exodus: Gods and Kings with Christian Bale.
Ooh.
When he's Moses.
Yes.
So he brings some of his lions, including Slayer of his foes. This was not in the movie, sadly. That movie would have fucking crushed.
How do they leave this out of the movie?
I don't know. Like, Ridley Scott, what are you doing? Anyway,
history.
That thing allegedly went off in battle. I mean, was just free to do lion stuff to anyone he wanted to.
And could do it, right?
Yeah, and did it.
It's not like the lion knows who's on his side.
He just.
Oh, that's true, huh?
He killed, as far as I could find, Hittites, not Egyptians.
Okay.
But if he kills one or two Egyptian peasants, whatever.
Yeah. Oh.
And by the way, so this is the funniest part to me is, can you imagine, like, this is what I was talking about. You're in battle with you're a Hittite. You're just a farmer. You miss your children. The king comes, makes you pick up a spear and a shield. It's like, you're going to come fight for me against these people for all you know, 1,000,000 miles away. You go into battle. You're even doing okay. Like, you're still alive. It's halfway through the battle.
Like, I got this.
And a lion just pops out and rips your fucking throat out.
Shit, I don't got this.
What can you do?
And it's a lion.
Surprise
It's
attack,
the exotic pet of a man who basically looked at you like you're a bug.
Yeah.
Maybe at some point you've never even encountered a lion.
You probably don't even know what it is.
And a lot of people don't know, like, seeing a lion up close. You know, we see him on Discovery, and you just kind of go, oh, okay, I mean, crazy, I could fight him, right? When you're right next to them, it's a impressive.
It's insane.
I would still rather
ass.
fight a lion than a tiger. Tigers are scary.
Tigers are bigger. Yeah.
Bigger
and meaner.
Yeah.
Jaguars
not as smart,
too.
I don't think.
I mean, the other thing to remember, too, is, obviously, this is ancient times, so they probably maybe had more contact with nature than we do now. But if you go back to, like, for example, it used to be an impressive thing. If what is the museum called? It's like the Museum of Natural History, something in New York. I went there last time I was in New York with my wife. And
it's fucking amazing.
It's amazing,
yeah.
but you go through the animal part, and it's just all these stuffed animals.
That
But you got to
look like
remember, a lot
shit.
of this is like kind of pre-zoo.
Yeah.
And so people see a stuffed lion, and that's impressive to them in 1893.
This was like
Right.
pre-taxidermy,
right.
like
Yeah,
modern taxidermy.
But like, to me, I'm like, I've seen these up close at zoos.
Yeah.
I don't, a stuffed lion, who gives a fuck?
Yeah, that doesn't do it for you.
But that is a modern thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
people in the past, you see a lion once in your life.
Yeah. So they're not like accustomed to it in any way. When
Right.
it's rolling up on you,
you
you don't even know what's happening.
I've been 5 feet away from a lion like 5 times this year, at the zoo.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's not historically, that is not even close to normal.
And by the way, Rob, that's not even normal. That's
Kids-
a
my
fucking
kids like the
that's a
zoo.
fucking lot, dude.
yeah,
My kids like the zoo.
That's
will
a
say-
real lot.
I think the Aztecs probably could have won their war with the Spaniards if they had kind of war jaguars,
Oh, okay.
because they're like stealthier.
Now that's a scary motherfucker
Oh, yeah.
too.
Actually, I was going to mention the Aztecs in our next one. It's not about the Aztecs, but there's a parallel to that. So next up, we're getting back into the great human tradition of lighting animals on fire and using them as weapons. Now we have fire oxen.
That's like now he's pissed. He's running
A blazing
on
bull.
fire, right?
Pretty much.
Okay.
So in 279 BC,
Great idea.
in the Warring States period in China, a Chinese general from the QI by the name of Tian Dan, sure,
Sure.
could be one of your guys, decided to turn the tide
Like
for
we're
his,
related.
yeah, why not?
Like
Okay.
all right.
Anything Dan in the name.
His forces were losing in the war, not a battle, but in like the war. So he decided to turn the tide for his forces by lighting a bunch of oxen on fire. Specifically,
As sacrifice.
no, as a weapon.
As a weapon, dude. Which great idea. Now I'm like on these guys' side.
Yeah.
I go, great fucking idea.
I mean, can you imagine someone breaks into your house, you light your dog on fire? That guy's leaving.
I'm a fucking genius.
That guy's
yeah.
leaving the house.
Also,
Yeah.
the bulls are gonna be pissed off. They're gonna
So,
run headfirst at the whatever direction they're looking at. Really.
yeah, pretty much. So, Tiandan collected more than 1,000 oxen from the people in the city. He had them dressed with red silk and multicolored linens, and he made them look like dragons. He essentially dressed them up like dragons.
Before he lit him on fire?
Yes.
I like this guy. Do you know what I mean? And now
crafty.
I'm fucking in it.
Yeah.
You know?
So
God.
then he basically took, they got horns. Oxen don't have like huge horns, but they do have horns. So what Tiandan did is he put big fucking knives on their horns,
Jesus.
put blades on their horns, and he attached reeds dipped in grease, tied those to their tails. So they're dressed up like dragons.
Then it's whipping
They have
around.
knives on their horns that extend out further.
So when they're freaking out, yep.
Yep. So he lights, the oxen are released. Their tails are lit on fire. 5,000 men follow them. The oxen are sent at the enemy army, and they charge right into the camp in the middle of the night. Everyone wakes up, thinks they've got dragons running at them. They get up. The oxen hit the camp, start stabbing the fuck out of everyone there.
This is another funny one. I mean, if you just saw a snippet of this.
Oh, my God. Tails are on fire. They're pissed off. They're afraid. They run into the other camp. People get out. Oxen are huge, by the way. Their heads are thrashing left and right. They've got knives on their heads.
Love it.
And there's 5,000 troops immediately following them to mop up.
Whatever's like people are, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Almost dead or freaking out or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the people they charged, by the way, they thought they were dragons. They were like, oh, my fucking God.
Because to your point, there's no zoo. There's no Austin Zoo. You know what I mean? You're not
Right.
encountering
And you
certain
think dragons are
animals.
real.
It's also dark.
Yeah.
It's dark.
Also dark. You were sleeping. You're woken up. You drank some meat or
it's
something the night
horrifying.
before.
Yeah,
That's
you,
horrible.
You wake up in the middle of the night, 1,000 screaming, flaming ox with knives on their head are running straight at you, but you think they're dragons.
I love it.
They stampede through everything. By the way, a stampede alone.
Yeah, they didn't have to do anything. They could have just run through there and killed a bunch of people.
Mm-hmm.
This is fucking brilliant.
Shredded them.
It's a great idea.
It's a really great idea.
Tiandan eventually reclaimed
Yeah.
about 70 Chinese cities in his war from the conquering people he was fighting or whatever. Huge dub. Huge dub.
Now, is this before there are like explosives and guns?
Yes, this is.
So that is when war was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
You
you
gotta get
had
creative.
to be
This
fucking
is this
crafty.
is ancient China.
Ancient China, you had to be fucking crafty.
Yeah.
Best to ever do it, I would say.
This is one of the goats. I mean, this is an underrated guy. This is like a football coach from the 40s in college that you never heard of who like invented some amazing offense. Everyone's so
Yeah.
used. I mean, this guy just,
The goat of using goats and stuff.
kind of.
Yeah.
Next up, got what I like to call.
Burp, burp.
All right, we're going to stay in China.
Mm-hmm.
As we've established,
Yes.
there is nothing more effective in warfare than torturing a very smart animal.
Yes. And by the way, listen, I'm in now. What else are you going to do?
This is why China's putting up numbers.
What else are you going to
Like
do?
all these ancient wars, like casualties not that big usually, but in China for some reason it's always like, oh, millions of people died.
As Americans, we grow up and we're like this. There was no conflict bloodier than the Civil War. But in China, like an emperor sneezes and 800,000 people die.
Yeah. They see what we do and they go, let's make it fucking
Oh,
crazier,
like, that's cute.
better,
You sweethearts.
and be smarter about it. And that's to this day, by the
They're
way.
smaller people too, so you can fit more of them in.
China stacks bodies
Yes.
like nobody's business.
Yes.
So, again, what's more effective in war than torturing a smart animal? And what is smarter than a monkey?
Okay, now here we go.
Yeah.
Planet of the Apes.
Because if you train those motherfuckers enough, they could straight up hold a gun. I mean, not right now, but...
Right. It's like in that one Planet of the Apes where the ape picks up the gun and is just like...
Yep.
Just shoots it a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to talk about monkey bombs, which is sadly not a shot of banana liqueur and Red Bull,
Unfortunately.
but
Sounds awful.
but should be.
Banana liqueur, I mean, you could get it down.
No,
There's
that's
worse
fine.
shots
But why are you
out
mixing
there.
it with Red Bull?
Because it's a bomb.
Yeah, you got to bomb
Yeah.
it down something. It's not going to be Guinness, is it? Banana-flavored Guinness?
Actually, banana and Guinness
Actually,
might go okay together.
that would be like a chocolate banana. Put a little bit of your
Yeah.
peanut butter in there.
Yeah. That's not bad.
Guys, what are we calling it? Who's this guy?
Who uses this? Was during the Song Dynasty. Is an army led by Zhao Yu.
So the Zhao Yu bomb, dude.
Yeah. Monkeys were used as incendiary devices. Bombs. The monkeys were clothed in straw that was dipped in oil. Then they were set on fire and just set loose into the enemy camp.
not a
Hundreds of
bomb.
monkeys lit on fire, set loose in an enemy camp. I don't even know that did anything other
That's
than
what I mean. Like, they're not at that point.
I think you're just scaring the shit out
Yeah.
of your enemy at that point.
You're setting a scene.
Right. You're
Yeah,
setting
you're showing them his boss.
you're letting them know like I'm crazy.
Yeah. You don't know what I'm going to do next because I just did that. So stop right now.
Like imagine if the ATF is like trying to whatever, like they're besieging a compound like
Waco.
Waco or something.
Sure.
And the guy's like, all right, I'm going to show them what it's going to cost if they come in here. And he just like goes into an open window and starts skinning a live cat.
Yeah, they would have been like, oh, fuck, dude.
Get
Yeah.
more people.
Or he lights the cat on fire and throws it. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Then they'd be like, holy shit,
don't have enough.
back up.
Yeah.
Let's get out of here.
We don't get more people.
We don't know
And not
what's
just
behind
one cat,
there.
thousands.
Right.
There you go. Now then,
Can you imagine? You wake up in the middle of the night and there are just monkeys on fire.
and they're dressed in clothes, which means like they can't. Do you know what I mean? Like
They've got
there's
a little
that.
hay vest on.
Yeah. So that's going to go up for a long time before it even gets to the skin. So these things are on fire for
20 minutes.
That's a citronella.
Yeah, I guess
You can't put it out. Yeah.
That's all the only information I had on that one, but I just thought it was funny
to
light monkeys on fire and send them into an enemy camp.
And also dress them in little hay tuxedos.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like that was a funny image as well.
Let people know what you're capable of.
Yeah. And you may not have anything else in the arsenal, right? But
I just think the monkeys
that.
could be more useful than setting them on fire. Like you train the little monkey to go steal stuff.
Steal their weapons and just like run away.
Steal intel.
Yeah.
But what I'm hearing of this time is like weapons are not the thing that we're lacking.
Mm-mm.
It's proximity to the enemy, right?
Yeah.
But you
Without
train like a little
yourself.
ninja monkey to take out their commander.
Maybe. It's hard. I mean, they're harder to
I
train
know.
than you think. I think you really just want to scare the shit out of. Like everyone's already antsy. This is before. My guess is most of the army is at best semi-professional. These are not professional troops.
Right.
These are conscripted people.
And you're talking about like an Afghan or Iraq where it's a long game. They're training the monkey for 5 years. They don't have this time. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're like they need to come up with
something. Just sounds like they're
something.
kind of lazy. Like, oh, all right, light it on fire.
Yeah. I mean, I guess make him a vest. I don't know.
I mean, fair enough. I agree with you that it would be actually really useful to let loose like 100 monkeys into the camp, steal all their swords.
Monkeys. Yeah.
Yeah. That is, by the way, my favorite. Have you ever seen Will Ferrell's A Night Out with George W. Bush or whatever on HBO from like way back in the day?
No.
Highly recommend watching it for the monkey part alone.
Okay.
Because it's about monkeys trained for war.
Okay.
I would if anyone listening to this show has not seen it, go watch it immediately.
I'll watch it.
Goddamn hilarious.
Nothing to watch.
I
already finished Tires, right?
I can't.
There's nothing to watch. Shut up.
Next up, I just titled this part "Sounds Racist is True."
Great.
Troops in Afghanistan, like our troops in Afghanistan, were warned of potential attacks from kamikaze camels strapped with explosives.
As recent as...
I don't know if it ever happened when we were there, but in the 80s, bin Laden and Afghanistan's Mujahideen did, in fact, put bombs on camels and just send them up to a group of Soviet soldiers and clack off that camel.
That I can get behind. A camel? I mean, please.
Man, there's one video I was trying to find for Nature Nook one day.
Camel stuff?
It's has stuck with me. It's so gnarly. I would have to go find it again if it was one thing we ever wanted to show, but it is. So I guess there are some countries where they eat camel meat.
Okay. Doesn't surprise me.
And that's fine. Yeah, I don't know. It might be good meat. I've eaten kangaroo.
The camels kind of deserve it because they were used as a propaganda tool to let kids smoke.
True.
Camels was my brand.
Hell yeah, dude. Me too.
All day camels. I'll do Parliament if Parliament's fine. I go Camel Light 100%. Parliament's fine. And then there's one I did not like, Marlboro Lights.
No.
Hated those.
Did you ever do the camel baseball bats, the 99s?
Yeah, the hundreds?
They weren't hundreds. They were 99s. Remember those?
No.
Where they were like...
There were some times where it was like in a small town or something, and I'd have to go in, and all they would have is like a soft pack hundreds Camel Lights, and I'm just like, what the fuck, dude?
You guys don't see hundreds that much anymore, huh?
No.
Remember that?
It's an old lady cigarette.
We would like want it to last forever.
God. It's like the length of a cigar.
It's not good.
No, it's
You're
bad.
never really, I mean, if you're smoking that whole thing and chain smoking it, I mean, hats off.
Power to you.
Yeah. Night.
So
Well, you're not alive anymore, so we don't. Yeah.
So, this video, though, it's like at some slaughterhouse, and I guess it's in the Middle East for sure. And this guy, what they do is they go up to a camel, slit its throat, right? So this guy just slits his camel's throat, but the camel freaks out, obviously, because it just had its throat slit, and he bumps into the guy, and the guy slips on blood that was there from the other camels, falls on the ground, and the camel curb stomps him to death as the camel bleeds. Then the camel falls down and bleeds out.
And we didn't show that on our
We didn't
daytime current event show?
We did not. For that, I can see
can't
it. Like
see
I
that.
can see
can't
it
see
right
it.
now. Like I can see it.
Dan, have you seen that? Has
I've
he
not.
shown it to
I've not
really?
seen this, no.
I
Are you gonna want to see
didn't put that
it?
evil on anyone else.
God, that's fucking awful. But also,
It was gnarly.
put
Here,
some
send me
fun
it.
music to
We'll
that.
throw it up on the Patreon.
There you go. Oh God, there you go. Get some people on the
It was
Patreon.
so
people.
bad. So, yeah, that was a legit thing though that the Mujahideen did to the Soviets in the 80s. They would just strap explosives to camels and walk them into a bunch of Soviets. Bam. Also, though, camels were used during the invasion of India by the Turks in 1398 by Timur. He was the Turkish ruler at the time. He loaded his camels, which is with as much hay and wood as they could carry, and then set them on fire and sent them screaming into the Indians' war elephants.
See, setting animals
Oh.
on fire maybe not as smart as we thought.
Yeah, you've got to have an agent that's gonna keep them on fire too.
That,
Yes.
but it's
And- which
also
is hard to do.
Seems to be a common play.
Yeah, like what we see you
It's
coming
the
at
third
this
time
point.
we've mentioned it.
Light it on fire, send it at the elephants. There's nothing.
So now is it just camel elephant war, or are we actually?
Well, that was
any
just a fun
people
little extra
involved?
thing with the camels. I was more
Okay.
interested in the fact that Osama bin Laden, he's come so far, right? Like he's like
Yeah.
Fast and the Furious 1, they're stealing DVDs.
Sure.
Fast 10, they're in space,
Yep.
right? Bin Laden in the 80s, putting dynamite up a camel's asshole. Bin Laden in 2001, taking down the World Trade Center.
Yeah. The escalation
You
is
start
what-
small,
Sure.
build your way up.
You learn. Do you know what I mean? Trial and error.
Grind. You grind.
See what works.
Yeah.
Never quit.
And Rob commends Osama bin Laden for that.
Just because you don't like them doesn't mean you can't acknowledge a dub
Or how far he came.
or how
I
far he
think
came.
it's the same as him loving Kevin Spacey.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like I don't like him as a person. I
But
don't like what he did, but you gotta respect him.
the resume is the resume.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I mean, do we have those under our belt? No.
No, I haven't done half of what Osama bin Laden has done.
All right.
Last but not least,
Yeah, please.
we have Operation Acoustic Kitty.
Acoustic kitty.
Interesting.
This is
Not electric kitty.
Acoustic Kitty.
I'm intrigued.
This was a CIA program.
Riddle me shocked.
It was a project launched by the CIA in the 60s. It intended to use cats to spy on the Soviets and their embassies.
Can we say something about the CIA in the 60s? I mean, they were
Love-
fucking off their rocker.
It's funny because
Unhinged.
they were giving people LSD without them knowing, but it feels like they were doing LSD themselves.
The things they were coming up with were they were so whacked out on whatever drug.
Oh my God.
It was like a pharmacist that's
w-
doing the fucking pills.
I would kill to be in that writer's room.
It was like a police officer. You can't use the taser unless you get tased yourself.
And so they must have, right?
Had to
And
do
it
the
was the
LSD.
60s. And it was just like, it's cool, man, right? Like, it was so okay and normalized
Oh, yeah.
that it was like smoking a cigarette. You're like, we're going to do some LSD and like hang out, right?
Yeah.
So, of course, they did at some point.
They did everything.
But they were fucking out of their mind.
The CIA in the 60s is essentially like, I'll try anything once.
Let's just like see what I mean, they were going back to like lighting pigs on fire. You know what I mean?
Maybe.
They were like, let's just like do whatever we can.
Yeah.
Not
'Cause
that they
this
have
traditional
much
shit.
guardrails now, but it was just limitless then in the 60s.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody.
But it was
nobody
weird
watched the
ass
Watchmen.
shit,
I mean,
you know?
whatever you want to say about the CIA now and, like, oh, they could, the Patriot Act and terrorists and China, like, peak 60s
Ugh.
when kids
What a
were
fun
ducking
time.
and covering like it was a tornado drill for nukes and shit like that.
Yeah.
Everyone
Just
in
get under
America
the
was
desk.
like, do whatever you need to do.
They killed a sit-in president.
Like test it on our people, the lower levels, test it on them, see if it's fucking good enough to make you jump out windows and stuff, then send it over there, put it in the water. I mean, I don't know what they were. It was real cool though.
I
Do you know what I
again
mean? It was a real cool time.
would kill to be in that writer's
Ugh.
room.
when they were like coming up with it, and then no one could say like no, right? Like the director is
right.
like, they're like, okay,
There's no bad ideas.
All right, let's try it.
So, this idea in particular, how would cats spy on embassies? Well, what you would do is you would take a cat and give it an hour-long surgery in which you put a microphone in its ear canal and a small radio transmitter at the base of its skull, and then put a wire through its fur so that it would go into the embassy, because I guess Russians just love cats.
You got to bug the cat.
Come, yes. We love kitties and vodka.
The petting the cat.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
Is that where that comes from? That trope of like
I
the
guess,
evil
Yeah.
dude petting the cat, the
Mm,
spy
Every
cat.
James Bond villain. with a cat.
Yeah. Okay.
So they're like, yeah, dude, Russians will obviously take in a fucking cat.
Or they're just gonna be like, oh, whatever.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's a cat in here.
Yeah,
Don't bother.
He's fine. He's
Yeah,
fine.
yeah.
He's good.
He's fine.
The first acoustic kitty mission was to eavesdrop on two men in a park outside the Soviet embassy in Washington, D.C. Soviets were hanging out in the park. Just wanted to see if you could hear them, whatever.
It's a shame we never got to use the cats on Stalin.
I know he was already dead by then. So the cat was released nearby, and I guess they were going to coax it over to the park. And as they began to coax it over to the park, it was hit by a taxi and killed immediately.
Yes, I couldn't have written that better, right?
It's an hour surgery. Do it again.
Yeah.
Yeah, no bigs.
I mean, this was literally, they found out what it was like to try and herd cats.
Yeah,
With
exactly.
firecrackers.
They were like, okay, go. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? They're like,
Go,
fuck
kitty.
you. We never go where you tell us to go.
No.
Ever.
Go talk to the monkey if you want someone to fucking go where you tell them to go, please.
The project was ultimately canceled in 1967.
After this little hiccup,
Yeah.
I know. I think they tried again.
we got
But
hit
it
by
just
Oh,
an
they
never-
tried multiple times, I'm
But
sure.
this was the only
The
notable.
cats yearned for the wheel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A former CIA officer said Project Acoustic Kitty cost in the 60s about $20 million, which today would be about $191 million.
That's so much money.
And we
How?
wonder, huh?
For putting a little microphone in a cat?
And
20
again,
mil?
The unhingedness of it is they had endless funds
Anything.
to be like, look, we can do this.
Yeah.
And they're like, but how are we gonna listen? I got it.
Anything.
Don't worry.
That's the part of being an American where I'm like, where, a lot of people are like, can you believe what we waste this money on? And I'm like, I don't think we're not lotto winners. So it almost just makes me feel like rad that we can even just waste that much money.
Oh, for sure.
Like,
it's
makes
a
me
flex
feel
in
powerful.
itself. Yeah, it's a flex in itself.
We're just
to be
trying
like,
stuff.
we spent $20 million to put a microphone in a cat that got fucking run over. I mean, that's a flex,
Like,
right?
immediately just, blah!
And we were fine with it. We tried again a couple times, and then
Well-
we just like,
Guess we'll figure something else out.
yeah, we just gave people LSD without them knowing. You know what I mean?
Among other things.
Among other things. You guys have done all that, right? Too recent?
What?
Any one of the Lake Wormwood or the...
He did the Unabomber, who was a part of that.
That was Jake.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
that's Jake. Okay.
Of course it was Jake. That's Jake's hero.
That's fair. Yeah.
His hero.
I mean,
Okay.
the
Jake is-
manifesto makes some good
Jake
points.
is months away from a manifesto, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, he's
Shack by
taken...
the ocean.
He's
and-
taken the first step.
We've-
Oh,
yeah.
We've done some
Yeah.
fruit wars that the CIA definitely had a hand in. Revolutions in Central and South America.
Sure.
You can't know till you try.
It's so true. And I commend them for,
Being brave enough to try.
Yeah.
And again, they killed Kennedy,
Who did?
the CIA.
Wow.
I'm offended as a Catholic, but sympathetic as an American.
Right. Right.
Yeah. I swear to God.
And do you
though,
mean the mob?
No, CIA.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
little A,
Okay.
little B, maybe? Who knows?
Little A using B
Yeah.
to get to C?
What'd you guys learn today?
Listen, I learned shit used to be fucking rad.
Up
As
until
I always
1996.
learned. Yeah, as I always learn on this show. Shit just used to be fucking more rad. You know? Less guardrails on people, right? It makes it more fun. You could put knives on a horn
Mm-hmm.
and light something on fire.
Yeah, like anything on fire.
There's no PETA around here. You know what I mean? Now it's like you could never.
No.
I learned that if you train a dog around a certain scent,
It's the enemy scent?
That's your big takeaway. No,
my big
yeah, I get
takeaway is
that.
if you train a dog, he's going to do what you trained him to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you have to actually take the time to train. And I think you also learned, like, most of them are just lazy. Right?
A lot of oversight.
A lot of oversight. A lot of just throwing noodles at the wall. You know?
Seeing what sticks. Who's today's Hitler?
Human beings. Probably human beings.
And I forget, by today's Hitler, do you mean, like, the best to ever do it?
No.
You can take it that
like
way, yeah.
yeah, if you want. I mean, it's every
But can you deny that?
Hitler's a different... Yes, I can, actually. I don't even think he's the GOAT.
Yeah, Hitler's like kind of mid-tier.
Like, I make that argument with Jim Jones, right?
Yeah.
Where it's like
he's just brand value.
the most prolific to ever do.
Yeah, Hitler's like Kobe.
Okay. So who's the Kobe of the story? Is that what you're saying?
You know, he's like good, but he's overrated.
Yeah. Like if you actually look at the numbers,
Yeah,
they don't.
Like he's a great.
They don't
he
add
is
up.
Great, an all-time great.
He is,
but it's like people act like he's
the
top
name
5.
really kind of puts him over the top.
Yeah, people act like he's top 5, and he's just
There's
not.
so many just people in China that put up way better numbers.
I mean, Mao.
Not
You
even
know?
now, dude.
I get that analogy, right?
Yeah. Well, your husband loves Kobe. You should.
Right, but then when you actually make the argument
There's just
of like, look, it's
not there.
the shots look splashy
Yeah,
and
yeah.
fucking fun, but if you look at the numbers of the game,
He did it in the modern
years
game, I guess.
and whatever,
Yeah.
you end up being like, ugh.
Yeah. It's
But you don't want to admit. So with Hitler, it's like you see the kids going into the fucking chamber. It's like my God.
Yeah.
Even at the time too, Stalin head to head.
Oh, for sure.
Stalin had more years. So Stalin was more of a what do you call it? An accumulator.
Accumulator, yeah.
Yeah.
So are you saying then who's the Hitler, the most overrated person?
Who's the bad guy of today?
The bad guy of
Because that's our
today.
joke. Is that it's like everyone
Americans
just
are terrible at history, and they always refer to something as Hitler.
Oh, is Hitler.
right.
Or they're Nazis.
Whoever the antagonist is Hitler immediately.
Right.
You're just like Hitler.
Okay, so who's the bad guy?
Yes.
I would say the bees, right?
Is that your Hitler?
The bees are my well,
Mhm.
oysters.
Oysters.
Oysters in general.
The
Jake.
oysters in general.
Well, then it's Jake.
and I
because
don't
Jake's
think
giving,
you guys
Jake's
would
decision to give up on
disagree.
the
Jake
show.
is giving the world more oysters.
I mean, I didn't say it. You guys said it, and you can clip that and send it to him because you guys said it and
He'll
I didn't.
listen.
But yeah, I would say yeah,
Okay.
for sure. But
That's
also the knives on the horns and
The
the fucking
dragon-
That's
reed on
rad,
the.
though. That's not even.
That's rad. I know.
Dragon
but like,
Bowls.
yeah, the Dragon Bulls. Now, had you coupled the '60s CIA, given those people like dosed them hard with LSD, then send in the dragons
Right.
on fire, I mean, they would have just killed themselves.
I mean, I think if you want to couple the China stuff together, you put the monkeys on top of the dragons.
yes.
And then the dragons, or the ox dragons, eventually ignite the monkeys as they get to the camp. And then the screaming monkeys, who at this
Fly
point are just different demons,
towards
leap off the oxen.
as they're peaking, right?
Oh,
like, so
yeah.
we've given them the LSD at the perfect
Yes,
time.
yes.
As they're peaking, we're going to send these fucking things in. Monkey leaps at you.
Mm-hmm.
You don't even need to hurt anybody at that point. They're all just going to be grabbing
good to go.
knives and killing themselves.
Yep.
Mhm.
Okay. Fun one.
Well, that is all I've got for Dan Regester and Jessie Wiseman. I'm Rob Fox.
You just got soft serve.